Imagine holding an engagement ring in your pocket for a trip you spent a year planning, only for your girlfriend to cancel on you last minute to go see some random guy from high school she's never mentioned before. So he did the only logical thing. He went on the romantic getaway without her, and she absolutely lost her mind. Was he petty, or did he just dodge a massive bullet? And that's just the headliner. We've also got a husband who finally exploded on his own mother after she told his wife her biological clock is expiring. A house sitter who took the phrase, help yourself to whatever, way too literally with a $120 bottle of vintage wine. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to AITA Chronicles, where we break down the wildest, messiest, and most unhinged Reddit stories every single day. If you live for the drama and those tough moral dilemmas, you are definitely in the right place. We are on a serious mission to hit 10,000 subscribers, and every single one of you watching helps us get closer to that goal. So please smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's jump right into today's chaos. Am I the asshole for going no contact with my girlfriend for a weekend after she chose to reconnect with an old friend instead of honoring a year's planned commitment? All right, folks, strap in because we're about to witness what might be the most transparent case of she belongs to the streets energy I've ever seen on this godforsaken website. And I do mean godforsaken because this poor man was about to propose to a woman who literally ditched him on his 30th birthday for some random dude from high school. Let me say that again for the people in the back. She ditched him on his 30th birthday. So our writer is a 30-year-old man who's been with his girlfriend for 2 years, and for his birthday, he had one simple wish: a romantic weekend getaway to the mountains with just the two of them. Nothing crazy, not asking for a surprise party with 100 people, not demanding some elaborate scavenger hunt across 3 states, just quality time with his partner. Reasonable, right? Sweet, even. They'd been planning this trip for almost a year, a whole ass year. Time off was requested from work, reservations were made and prepaid. This man had everything locked down, including, and this is the kicker that's about to make you want to throw your phone, an engagement ring. Homeboy was planning to propose, but wait, hold up. Because a few days before they're supposed to leave, one of the girlfriend's best friends dropped some casual information like a bomb. An old friend from high school is coming back to town, and he's only going to be there for, you guessed it, the exact weekend they had planned to be gone. Now, any reasonable person would say, open quote, oh, that sucks, but I have plans. Maybe we can grab coffee Sunday night when I get back. Let me see if he's free for lunch next week. Close quote. Right? Wrong. This woman, and I'm using that term loosely because her decision-making skills are giving middle school, says she has to cancel their year-long planned trip because she has to see him. I'm sorry, has to? Unless this dude is her long-lost twin brother who was separated at birth, and this is their one chance to reconnect before he enters the witness protection program, there is no universe where I have to see my high school friend outweighs my boyfriend's milestone birthday trip that we've been planning for a year. And here's where it gets real sketchy, folks. Our writer points out, very reasonably I might add, that this is a high school friend she never associates with or even mentions. She doesn't follow him on any social media. Like, this man is a complete ghost in her life until suddenly he's so important that she's willing to blow up her relationship over breakfast with him. Make it make sense. She hits him with the classic manipulation line, open quote, we can do this anytime, and he's only in town this weekend, close quote. Oh, really? Really? Because last time I checked, prepaid reservations, approved PTO, and a year of planning don't exactly scream we can do this anytime. And I'm pretty sure your boyfriend's 30th birthday only happens once. He's not going to turn 30 again next month when it's more convenient for you, Susan. Our writer tells her they made plans, took off work, and prepaid for everything. He even mentions, though doesn't explicitly tell her, because he's a better person than I would be, that he planned to propose. They argue, and he eventually says, open quote, do what you want, close quote. And you know what she does? She leaves. The day of the trip arrives, and this woman actually gets up, leaves the house, and goes to meet her friends for breakfast to see Mr. Mystery High School Man. So our writer does what any self-respecting person should do. He calls his boys. And here's where we see what real friendship looks like. Because his good friend and his friend's brother cleared their entire weekend to go on this trip with him. They dropped everything to make sure he didn't spend his 30th birthday alone, heartbroken and staring at an engagement ring he can't return yet. Those are the kinds of friends you need in life, by the way. The ones who show up when you're down, not the ones who ghost you for a decade and then expect you to drop everything when they roll back into town. Our writer packs up and heads to the mountains with his actual friends, the ones who value him and his time. And honestly, good for him. He wasn't going to waste those prepaid reservations, that approved PTO, or his birthday sitting at home feeling sorry for himself while his girlfriend was out doing God knows what with God knows who. She gets home later and asks where he is. He texts back with his new plans and says he'll be home Monday as originally planned. And this is where her audacity reaches levels that shouldn't even be possible. She starts blowing up his phone, calling him cruel, gaslighting, selfish. I'm sorry. What? Let me get this straight. She ditched him on his birthday for some random dude from high school, but he's the cruel one for not sitting at home waiting for her return like a sad puppy. He's gaslighting for going on the trip they planned together. He's selfish for not canceling everything and losing money just because she decided something else was more important. The projection is absolutely unreal. She's hitting every narcissist's prayer checkbox. That didn't happen. You're overreacting about me canceling. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. We can go anytime. And if it was, that's not a big deal. He's only here this weekend. And if it is, that's not my fault. You should have understood. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. You're the cruel, gaslighting / selfish one. Let's talk about the gaslighting accusation specifically because it's making me want to scream. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation where someone makes you question your own reality and sanity. Our writer didn't gaslight anyone. He simply made alternate plans when she canceled on him. That's not gaslighting. That's called having a backbone. If anything, she's the one gaslighting by trying to make him feel bad for not sitting at home alone on his birthday after she bailed on their plans. She wants him to believe that he's in the wrong for having self-respect. That's actually textbook manipulative behavior. Now let's address the elephant in the room that literally everyone in the comments is thinking, she 100% hooked up with this guy. I know. We don't have concrete proof. But come on, let's look at the evidence. 1, she never mentions this guy, ever. Not even in passing. 2, she doesn't follow him on social media despite allegedly being close friends. 3, he rolls into town and suddenly she's willing to destroy her relationship to see him. 4, she gives no good reason why her boyfriend can't come to breakfast too. 5, she expects her boyfriend to just sit at home and wait for her while she spends the day with another man. 6, she freaks out when he doesn't play the sad waiting boyfriend role. This has reconnecting with an ex or finally shooting my shot with my high school crush written all over it. And the fact that she's so angry he didn't wait around, that screams guilty conscience to me. She wanted to go test the waters with Mr. High School, and if it worked out, great. If not, she'd come home to her safe backup option, who would be there with open arms because he didn't have anywhere else to go. Except our writer flipped the script. He went and had a good time with people who actually care about him. And now she's big mad because her plan didn't work. Commenter u/fitplay9448 cuts to the chase. Open quote, NTA, time to find a new GF, close quote. And commenter u/klutzyplankton8930 adds, open quote, yeah, definitely don't propose, close quote. Yay think? Commenter u/holdfast02 says what we're all thinking. Open quote, I'd say it's good luck for OP to find out about this before he proposed. Close quote. Exactly. Can you imagine if he had proposed, she said yes, they got married, and then she pulled this kind of selfish, boundary-stomping nonsense? At least now he knows exactly who he's dealing with before legally binding himself to this train wreck. Commenter U Desiree Times asks the real question. Open quote. I wonder what kind of friend is worthy abandoning your SO for? One you haven't seen since high school who also happens to be the opposite gender too. Me thinking it's an ex or crush, close quote. Bingo. That's exactly what this is. No one cancels year-long plans for a casual acquaintance. You cancel for someone you have feelings for. Commenter u/OkiLady 1952 drives the point home. Open quote, and this was his birthday weekend getaway. Get away from the GF as she doesn't value you at all. Close quote. The disrespect is astronomical. This wasn't just any weekend. This was his birthday, his 30th birthday, which is a pretty big milestone for a lot of people, and she treated it like it was nothing, like he was nothing. Commenter UFew Tour 5521 shares a similar story. Open quote, I had a buddy go through something similar, planned a cabin weekend, got time off work, bought all the stuff, and his girlfriend bailed last minute because her friend needed her. That weekend basically showed him more truth than the entire relationship had up to that point. Sometimes a canceled trip is just a giant flashlight on someone's priorities. Close quote. This. Sometimes you don't know where you stand with someone until they have to make a choice. And when someone shows you that you're not even in their top 5 priorities, believe them. Commenter u/holdfast02 makes a fair point though. Open quote, honestly, that depends a lot on the definition of her friend needed her. Is it like in the OP when there's just an old friend coming to town and the partner would rather meet them than keep their original plans? Or is it something like, my best friend's mom just died and she needs comfort? Close quote. True. Context matters. If this had been an emergency, like a friend's parent died or someone was in the hospital or there was a genuine crisis, that would be different. That would be understandable and forgivable. But my high school friend I never talked to is in town for breakfast is not an emergency. It's not even close to an emergency. It's a choice. And she chose some random dude over her boyfriend's milestone birthday. Commenter u/legitimate account 23 emphasizes open quote 30th birthday too. Close quote, right? Not just any birthday. 30. That's a whole decade milestone. Most people do something special for their 30th, and this woman couldn't even be bothered to show up. Commenter's Beautiful Contest 48 asks the question we're all wondering, open quote, regardless of why she wanted to go, who TF at 30 changes plans to go see a high school classmate? Some people never grow out of high school. Close quote. Thank you. At 30 years old, you should have your priorities straight. High school was over a decade ago. If you haven't kept in touch with someone in 12 plus years, they're not that important to you, and they're definitely not more important than your partner of 2 years. Commenter u/decarnated aim nails it. Open quote. For some people, it remains the peak in their mind, regardless of how good it actually was. Nostalgia is a cruel mistress. Close quote. Oof. Imagine being 30 years old and still thinking your high school days were your peak. That's actually sad, but it would explain why she's so desperate to reconnect with this guy. She's probably romanticizing those good old days and wondering, what if? Commenter u/Kekavalue says, open quote, I had to double check the ages. Far too old to be doing something that dumb and hurtful to your partner. And, based on her reaction, that she's going to spin the breakup as him being controlling and cutting her off from her friends. Close quote. Yuppie. When he dumps her, and he better dump her, she's absolutely going to play the victim. She'll tell everyone he was jealous and controlling and wouldn't let her see her friends. She'll conveniently leave out the part where she ditched his birthday to chase after some dude from high school. Commenter use Laura Land 27 has the perfect response. Open quote, let her sit and spin. Who cares what she says as long as she stays the XGF? Close quote. Exactly. Let her tell whatever story she wants. The people who matter will know the truth. And the people who believe her version without hearing both sides weren't worth having in your life anyway. Multiple commenters are convinced this was an ex or old crush, and honestly, I'm with them. Commenter u/C leadership-8253 says, open quote, right, I agree it's an old flame. Please don't continue in this relationship. She doesn't value or respect you. Close quote. And commenter you neat successful 8591 adds another possibility, open quote, or a hookup. Close quote. Either way, it's bad. Whether she went to reconnect with an ex, shoot her shot with an old crush, or hook up with a former fling, the bottom line is she prioritized another man over her boyfriend on his birthday. That's a deal breaker no matter how you slice it. Now let's talk about what happened in the comments when our writer actually showed up and responded. Because yes, he's in there reading and replying, and what he says is both heartbreaking and infuriating. Commenter u slash eldscore girth lays it all out. Open quote, wow, your GF is a massive asshole. Zero accountability for her decision to ditch you for some random guy who shows up out of nowhere. Then to call you controlling, manipulative, gaslighting, etc., she's definitely projecting, probably trying to externalize her guilt and blame you for her feeling bad about cheating. Yeah, I fully believe she cheated. No one of sane mind cancels plans they've had for months with their partner just because some random dude they haven't seen since high school rolled into town. NTA, return the ring and go buy yourself something fun. Close quote. And our writer responds, open quote, yeah, this definitely has me rethinking my proposal plans. Gonna take the time to think on it all, but you're right. I should return the ring and maybe buy something for myself. Close quote. Wait, hold up. Rethinking the proposal plans? Rethinking? My guy, brother, king. There should be no thinking happening here. The answer is hell no. Hell to the no, no, no. This woman showed you exactly who she is. She showed you that you're not a priority. She showed you that she's willing to disrespect you, your time, your money, and your feelings for some random dude. She showed you that when you don't behave the way she wants, sitting at home waiting for her, she'll verbally abuse you and call you the problem. And you're rethinking whether to propose? The bar is in hell. Commenter you throw far away 212718 tries to talk sense into him. Open quote. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. You are very obviously not a priority to this one. She literally prioritized an acquaintance, not a friend, not someone she's close to that was in crisis, some dude she knew in HS over you. And you still think spending your life with her might be a good idea? Take that ring back. Close quote. Yes, listen to this person. She's showing you exactly who she is and where you rank in her life. And spoiler alert, you're not even in the top 5. Commenter, you slash bankrupt Barbie doesn't mince words. Open quote. Dude, your girl just dumped herself. The only thing to think about is what you're going to buy yourself with your ring money. Close quote. Preach. She dumped you. She just hasn't said the words yet. She's hoping you'll stick around as her backup option while she explores whatever this thing is with high school guy. Don't give her that option. Commenter u slash Lolo516 asks the obvious question. Open quote, why are you even still considering proposing to this woman? Feels like she showed you where her priorities are and unfortunately they aren't with you. I would be done if I were you. Close quote. Me too. Me too, friend. Me too. Now let's talk about the absolutely nuclear levels of pettiness some commenters are suggesting, and honestly, I'm here for all of it. Commenter you Marcus or Aurelius 123 suggests, open quote, but do post a photo of the ring with a caption, what toy should I buy myself after returning this? Close quote, savage. I love it. The level of petty? Chef's kiss. Would I recommend it? Probably not. Would it be satisfying as hell? Absolutely. Commenter u slash necessary tap 343 has another approach. Open quote, make sure she knows you were going to propose but now have changed your mind since you are obviously not her priority. Close quote. This one I actually do recommend. She needs to know exactly what she threw away. She needs to understand that her decision to chase after some high school memory cost her a proposal, a marriage, and a future with someone who clearly loved her enough to plan an elaborate proposal. Commenter u slash slash away AD 4393 makes a brutal point. Open quote, she probably wouldn't care that much. If she ducked out of his birthday, she doesn't sound that committed, TBAC. Close quote. Oof. That hurts because it's probably true. Someone who's ready for marriage doesn't bail on their partner's milestone birthday. Someone who's all in on a relationship doesn't prioritize a random acquaintance from high school over their partner. But commenter u slash u chippy the greatest counters, open quote, but definitely tell her you were going to so she feels sick, close quote. And you know what? Fair. Even if she doesn't care about losing him, she should at least know what her selfishness cost her. Maybe. It'll make her think twice before treating the next person like this. Commenter u some G00D cheese has a deliciously petty suggestion. Open quote, nah. Even better, make a copy of the receipt and leave that on the counter while you use the real one to return the ring. Close quote, I am screaming. The psychological warfare of this strategy. She comes home, sees the receipt, realizes he was going to propose, and has to sit with that knowledge while he's already returned it and moved on. I mean, it's petty as hell, but after what she did, she kind of deserves it. Commenter uflash foolish pleasure 99 suggests keeping it simple. Open quote, sorry honey, this weekend just changed my mind. Close quote, short, sweet, and to the point, no room for argument or negotiation, just a simple statement of fact. Commenter you total newbie, Groy Scorley 323 goes for maximum impact. Open quote, I would definitely show her the ring and say, this is what you missed out on this weekend. Then I would dump and block her. She chose to spend her time with a non-essential person in her life instead of you. I'd show her the door and how much she now means to me. Close quote. The drama, the flair, the justice. I'm not saying this is the mature approach, but I'm also not saying it would be incredibly satisfying. Commenter you use, Raptor07, brings up another excellent point. Open quote, dodged a bullet, she showed her true colors and who she values more. Return the ring and move on. Who has to meet up with HS friend she hasn't talked to or seen or even follows? Something is totally off here. Close quote. That has to language is so telling, isn't it? Like she had no choice. Like some cosmic force was compelling her to abandon her boyfriend on his birthday. No, sis, you chose to. You wanted to. Own your decision. Commenter use Blue Flash 775 focuses on her terrible communication. Open quote, that was pretty bad, but it was her reaction that was so over the top. Calling him cruel, gaslighting, being selfish. What part of that is gaslighting? We had a trip planned, you dropped out, and I went anyway. Close quote, right? The audacity to call him the gaslighter when she's literally trying to make him feel crazy for being upset about her canceling their year-long plans. That's some next level projection. They continue. Open quote. He just needs to correct the title and remove the for the weekend. Close quote. Damn, cold but accurate. This shouldn't be temporary, no contact. This should be permanent. And then they deliver the knockout punch. Open quote, send her a photo of the ring and the receipt, or put it on your mutual socials. Close quote dot, public accountability. I like it. Let everyone know what she gave up. Commenter U Mental Resource asks the real question. Open quote, why a GF when he has a bro that cleared his weekend plans for him? Bro is a keeper. Close quote. Facts. His friend and his friend's brother are the real MVPs of this story. They dropped everything to make sure he didn't spend his birthday alone and miserable. That's real friendship. That's the kind of loyalty you build a life around. Meanwhile, his girlfriend couldn't even keep plans she made a year in advance. Commenter UZXY lady has an interesting perspective. Open quote, thank your lucky stars that you didn't propose and actually marry this chick. You owe her a giant thank you. Close quote. You know what? They're right. In a twisted way, she did him a huge favor. She showed her true colors before he proposed, before they got engaged, before they got married, before they had kids and a mortgage and 15 years of history together. She showed him now when it's relatively easy to walk away. Imagine if he'd proposed, they'd gotten married, and then she pulled this. Imagine if they had kids and she was still prioritizing random dudes from high school over her family. He would have been stuck in a much more complicated situation. So yeah, in a backwards way, she did him a solid by being this terrible this early. Commenter U Bananas for Scale perfectly summarizes the situation. Open quote, really, this is just a girl, not a girlfriend. Close quote. Brutal. Accurate. She's acting like someone he's casually dating, not someone he's been with for 2 years and was about to propose to. Commenter Use Che Charles keeps it simple. Open quote, go no contact permanently. Close quote. Yes. The title says for a weekend, but it should say forever. Now let's get into the comments that focus on her suspicious behavior specifically, because there's a whole thread of people picking apart every red flag. Commenter slash Rude Independence 14 states it plainly. Open quote, NTA, she flaked on your birthday weekend plans to meet up with some guy you've never heard of. Close quote. And commenter who's Malfest 43 adds, open quote, and then bitched that he still went without her instead of sitting at home on his birthday, twiddling his thumbs while alone and doing nothing. Close quote. The entitlement. She expected him to just, what? Sit at home feeling sorry for himself? Waste the money on the reservations? Waste his PTO? All because she decided something else was more important. Commenter Ooze Holdfast02 nails the core issue. Open quote, yeah, that's the cherry on the shit sundae. Ditching him on his birthday is bad enough, but getting pissed that he made alternate plans, did he need to be home alone, pining for her? Close quote. Close quote. That's exactly what she wanted. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Go see her high school crush, whatever, test those waters and have her boyfriend waiting at home as a backup plan. When he refused to play that role, she lost it. Commenter slash Sandland Batman emphasizes, open quote, not even that he made alternate plans, but carried on the plans that had been established for close to a year, close quote. He didn't even make new plans. He just went on the trip they'd been planning, the one with reservations, the one they'd both requested time off for. He just went without her. And somehow he's the bad guy? Commenter Bookerman62 adds, open quote, with his real friends, close quote. Yup. The ones who actually showed up for him when it mattered. Commenter who save file corrupt makes a prediction. Open quote, you just know she's likely the type of GF that celebrates her B-Day for an entire week month, too. Close quote. Oh man, I bet you're right. I bet she's one of those it's my birthday month. People who expects everyone to drop everything and cater to her for 30 days straight. But when it's his birthday, nah, that's not important. She's got high school friends to chase it. And then commenter you drops a bomb of a personal story that proves this pattern is real. Open quote, wow, this is hitting way too close to home. I just broke up with my girlfriend for the exact same reason. Her birthday in May was a birthday week, involving renting a hotel room in Chicago, steak dinners at high-end restaurants, renting out a portion of a nightclub, the whole 9 yards. It was also expected that I would finance most of this. For my birthday, what did I ask for? To resize a Macy's watch she bought me that wasn't even close to fitting, and to watch a movie at home on the couch. She flaked on my birthday weekend to go out drinking with old friends from college because I'd understand. Dumped her ass, and you should too, OP. This is self-absorbed bullshit. Close quote. There it is, the pattern. She expects the world for her birthday, but can't be bothered to show up for his. It's all about her. Her wants, her needs, her desires. He's just an accessory to her life, not an actual partner. Good for you for dumping her, commenter. And our writer needs to follow that example. Commenter use embarrassed disc 7582 shares a parent's perspective. Open quote. Yeah, 15 years or so ago, my oldest brought home a girl who did a birthday month. I told him then, she is not the one for you. He tried. They broke up 2 months before her next birthday because she gave him lists of expectations for each day. Then he was expected to exceed those expectations. Close quote. Lists of expectations for each day. That's not a birthday celebration. That's a hostage situation. Commenter u/ Kathy Triv Queen shares an absolutely wild story about a sister-in-law. Open quote, in fall 2001, with my dad dying of cancer, my brother got married in a civil ceremony. They then traveled to my parents' home for the week of Thanksgiving. My new seal threw a hissy fit during dinner when we celebrated the birthday of my sister's fiancé, 11/22. When we asked my brother why she was upset, he said it was supposed to be her week. This was but the first of many similar incidents to follow. Close quote. Your dad is dying of cancer, and she's mad that someone else got a birthday cake during her week? The narcissism is off the charts. And I bet our writer's girlfriend is cut from the same cloth. The comment thread continues with more birthday drama stories. But they all prove the same point. People who think the world revolves around them make terrible partners. Now let's talk about the commenters who are calling out the girlfriend's reaction specifically, because her response to him going on the trip anyway is so revealing. Commenter Malphus43 sarcastically notes, open quote, how dare he not cancel everything? Close quote, right? The nerve of him to not waste hundreds of dollars and his PTO just because she bailed. Commenter u/Garf brings up what we're all thinking. Open quote, while she very realistically could have been banging an old friend from high school. And commenter Butterflies and a Llama adds, open quote, and there's a good reason that Op never heard of him, but now attending this guy's plans is priority number one. Close quote. Exactly. Why has he never heard of someone who's supposedly important enough to cancel a year-long plan for? because she's been hiding him, because there's history there she doesn't want her boyfriend to know about. Commenter U Gaslarf Ga elaborates, open quote, this was the part that stuck out to me too. There is no way she would bail on a birthday trip just to see a friend that she's not been in contact with for over a decade. She either doesn't give a shit about OP, or she's been hiding this guy from OP, and there is definitely more there than just an old friend. Close quote. Both things can be true. She doesn't give a shit about OP, and there's more to the story with high school guy. Multiple commenters point out that this was likely an ex or old crush. Commenter, open quote, guarantee this guy was a prior romantic interest. Close quote. Commenter, Razgrazrogue, open quote, 100%, this is why he's never heard of him. Close quote. Commenter Frappuccino 22, open quote, and now is single again, close quote. Ha! I love the implication that high school guy probably hit it and quit it, and now she's lost both men. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Commenter U Silver at Light 1, open quote, especially after prepaying. Put her to the curb, close quote. Commenter U Eagle Sturbjorn goes even further, open quote, meet up with nothing. She cheated. Nobody on earth drops everything to meet up with someone they haven't seen since high school with, unless they're playing Tuck the Sausage. Close quote. Tuck the Sausage, I'm dead. Commenter U Lithe Fighter is equally deceased. Open quote, Tuck the Sausage, close quote. Commenter Us Youngbach RKO, open quote, coffee should not have shot out my nose like that, but it did. Tuck the sausage, I can't lumfeo, close quote. The comments devolve into a discussion of various euphemisms for sex, with suggestions like playing hide the sausage and debates about what tuck the sausage even means, drag performance versus sex act, but the point stands. Everyone thinks she cheated. Commenter U The Outside Threer summarizes, open quote, OP was supposed to sit at home and feel bad while she let the other guy take her to Pound Town. Bullet dodged, close quote. And commenter O Congregator agrees, open quote, Ilmeow, the truth is so loud in this comment, close quote. Commenter O slash Starlereed shares, open quote, on his 30th birthday too. Had a similar thing happen for my 50th, still not over it now, lol. Close quote. The fact that this person is still not over it years later should tell our writer something. This kind of betrayal sticks with you. It fundamentally changes how you see your partner. There's no coming back from this. Now let's get to the comments about what our writer should do about this situation, because the advice is pretty unanimous. Commenter U slash Gremlin87 lays it out. Open quote, this is 1000% breakup worthy. Whether anything happened with the guy or not, she still chose him over you. On your birthday plans to add. I wouldn't think she would tell you about some random guy if she planned to cheat, but something about it definitely feels off. Close quote. And they're right. Even if she didn't physically cheat, which, let's be honest, she probably did, she still chose another man over her boyfriend on his birthday. That's a relationship-ending decision. Commenter U Outside Yak217 agrees. Open quote. Agree, and I hate when Redditors jump to break up, but this is for sure warranted. How about saying, love to catch up old friend, but I have plans to go away with my boyfriend for his B-day this YE. It's really that simple. Close quote. Yes, this is what a normal, well-adjusted person in a committed relationship would do. Hey, I'd love to catch up, but this weekend doesn't work. Can we grab coffee next week? That's it. That's all she had to do. Commenter slash Floofy Pantaloons makes an excellent point. Open quote. Agreed. It drives me nuts how Redditors want everyone to be perfect every second of the day, or they get kicked to the curb. Post is something like, we've been happily married for 30 years, but last night my husband left the ketchup bottle out for the first time ever. I got mad. AITA? 2,000 Redditors. Leave the bastard. In this case, even I'm like, you need to bail, dude. This is some messed up shit. I hope OP had a great weekend with real friends. Close quote. Right? Usually I'm rolling my eyes at Reddit's tendency to jump straight to divorce them for every minor infraction. But this is legitimate. This is a pattern of disrespect, selfishness, manipulation, and probable cheating. This is absolutely worth ending a relationship over. Commenter U Darcinia shares a hilarious petty revenge story about ketchup chips that I won't get into here, but it's worth reading in the original thread if you need a laugh. Commenter You Don't Remember Eating adds ominously, Open quote, oh, something tells me this is more than an old friend, more like an old boyfriend. Close quote. Yup. Now let's talk about the comments focusing on her reaction to him going anyway, because this is where her true colors really show. Commenter use comfortable focus 13 asks, open quote, NTA, I do not understand why she was upset that you followed through on your original plans, just with someone else. Did she want you to stay home and pine for her? Close quote. Commenter u/spacer spiff answers. Open quote, yes, that is exactly what she wanted. Then got upset. He didn't. Close quote. And commenter u/Glock006 takes it a step further. Open quote, it would be very easy to take it another step further and posit that she wanted other guy to know that she was disrespecting OP on his birthday and was mad that OP pulled an Uno reverse and ditched her. Close quote. Oh, damn. So not only did she want OP sitting at home pining, she wanted to be able to tell high school guy, yeah, I ditched my boyfriend for you, as some kind of proof that she's available or interested. But then OP went and had a great time without her, which ruins her narrative. That's some 4D chess manipulation right there. Commenter use correspondent brings up an important point. Open quote. This is exactly what boundaries look like, and she overstepped them, then blamed him. He didn't give her an ultimatum. She knew his plans and how he legitimately felt about it, and she made her decision anyway. Ignoring everything else, that alone is reason to move on. OP set a boundary, she crossed it. Now he can show her that he'll roll over for anything, or he can show her that his boundaries meant something. Close quote. This is so important. He didn't forbid her from going. He didn't give her an ultimatum. He just told her his feelings and she made her choice. Now he needs to make his choice, either accept being treated like this forever or walk away. Multiple commenters are convinced the relationship is over. Commenter Uslasi, open quote, relationship is over. She obviously has feelings for the guy. Honestly, be thankful you found out before you proposed. Close quote, commenter U1 Rainbow Unicorn. Open quote, this OP, you don't know it now, but this was a huge blessing in disguise. She is showing you who she is before you proposed. Believe her. Close quote. Commenter Murik goes deep. Open quote, even if she doesn't have feelings for the guy, which is possible, she is selfish to the point of narcissism. She ditched long-standing plans where money had been spent for her SO's birthday to go fuck off and do what she wanted, and then had the audacity to be mad that he didn't sit there and wait for her. Close quote. They continue, open quote, while it is possible OP didn't communicate what a massive issue this is, a decent human being would realize it is problematic, as would a good partner. She appears to meet neither of these criteria. Close quote. Facts. You shouldn't have to explain to your partner of 2 years that ditching them on their milestone birthday is hurtful. That should be obvious. The fact that she doesn't see a problem with her behavior is a massive red flag. They suggest, open quote, if I were OP, I would let her know that her blowing him off for his birthday was a great thing, considering he was going to propose. Let her know. And that her selfishness and behavior has taken that completely off the table. If she continues to be angry at him for the consequences of her choices, she can leave right now. Or she can have one last chance she really doesn't deserve to attempt to rebuild the trust she has broken. Not specifically trust that she cheated, though her reaction to saying this would be telling, but trust in the relationship and her ability to prioritize her partner. Close quote. Honestly, I don't even think she deserves that last chance. She made her choice. She showed who she is. Why waste more time? Commenter u/correspondent disagrees. Open quote, this craziness is enough to call it. Presumably it was a milestone birthday, 30, and she just ditched, then was mad he didn't do nothing. Close quote. And commenter use mouse attack makes a hilarious point. Open quote, honestly, if she doesn't have feelings for him, it's even worse. Like, she passed on her own opportunity to get engaged to see Tim, a casual acquaintance from 15 years ago. Close quote. LMAO at Tim, a casual acquaintance from 15 years ago. The disrespect, but also accurate. The comment section goes on and on with people telling our writer to dump her, return the ring, tell her about the proposal, don't tell her about the proposal, post the ring on social media, accidentally leave the receipt out, etc. But here's my favorite exchange. Commenter Slayu Venetian Harlequin, open quote, I'd absolutely tell her what your plans were too. Let her know how badly she fucked up, but I'd also dump her entirely. Close quote. Commenter you blind to the side. Open quote. NGL, it's pretty shocking that you're even considering still proposing. You should value yourself more. A good partner would never do this to you. And if you give in now, you'll be signing yourself up for a lifetime of never being prioritized, even on your birthday. Close quote. Commenter you/spondent. Open quote. I'm amazed dumping her entirely isn't number one on his to-do list. The sunk cost fallacy is a fallacy. Cut your losses because every part of this foretells doom. Close quote. And they're absolutely right. 2 years feels like a lot when you're in it, but it's nothing compared to a lifetime of this treatment. Cut your losses now before you're 10 years in with kids and a mortgage. Commenter, you, Burton North, keeps it simple. Open quote, come on, man. She treated you like dirt. Have some self respect. Close commenter, you/crazymonkey752 asks the most important question. Open quote, do you want to do this for 50 years? Close quote, no. The answer is no. Nobody wants to spend 50 years with someone who ditches them on important occasions for random people from their past. There are so many more comments, literally hundreds, all saying the same thing. Dump her, return the ring, have some self-respect, she showed you who she is, believe her, you dodged a bullet, etc. And they're all right. So is our writer the asshole? Hell no. Not even a little bit, not even 0.00001%. Let's break this down. He communicated his birthday wishes clearly. He planned an amazing romantic getaway. He gave a year's notice for the plans. He paid for reservations in advance. He took time off work. He was planning to propose. When she bailed, he didn't sit at home feeling sorry for himself. He salvaged the trip and had fun with people who actually value him. He set healthy boundaries by not responding to her manipulative texts. Now let's look at what she did. Canceled year-long plans at the last minute. Prioritized a random high school acquaintance over her partner. Didn't even suggest a compromise, like meeting the friend for an hour, then going on the trip. Expected her boyfriend to waste money and PTO sitting at home alone. Verbally attacked him when he didn't play the sad puppy role. Called him cruel, gaslighting, and selfish for checks notes going on the trip they planned together. Showed zero remorse for her actions, made it all about her feelings instead of acknowledging his hurt. The math is mathing, and it's not looking good for her. Our writer did everything right. He communicated, he planned ahead, he was romantic, he was ready to commit, and she threw it all away for some dude from high school she doesn't even follow on Instagram. The girlfriend is absolutely the asshole here. She's selfish, manipulative, disrespectful, and quite possibly a cheater. She showed our writer exactly where he ranks in her priority list. Spoiler, it's not in the top 10, and now she's mad that he won't accept being treated like garbage. Not the asshole. Our writer deserves so much better than this. He deserves a partner who values him, who keeps commitments, who wouldn't dream of ditching him on his birthday. He deserves someone who's excited to spend time with him, not someone who sees him as a backup option. To our writer, please, please listen to the hundreds of people telling you to leave. I know 2 years feels like a lot. I know you love her. I know you probably had a whole future planned out in your head, but she just showed you who she really is. Believe her. She's not going to change. If anything, she'll get worse after marriage because she'll feel like she has you and doesn't need to try anymore. Return the ring. Pack her stuff or pack your stuff, depending on whose place it is. End this relationship. Block her on everything so she can't manipulate you into staying. And then take that ring money and do something amazing for yourself. Take a trip. Buy that thing you've been wanting. Invest it. Whatever makes you happy, because you deserve happiness, and you're not going to find it with someone who treats you like you're disposable. Your friends who dropped everything to go on that trip with you, those are the people who love you. Those are the people who value you. Hold on to them. And someday you're going to meet someone who would never dream of ditching you on your birthday. Someone who puts you first. Someone who values your time and your feelings. Someone who deserves that ring. This ain't her, Chief. Final verdict, not the asshole. And please, for the love of all that is holy, make that no contact for the weekend into no contact forever. Your 30s are going to be amazing once you dump this dead weight. Trust me. And to everyone reading this, if someone shows you that you're not a priority, believe them the first time. Don't wait around hoping they'll change. They won't. Cut your losses and find someone who treats you like you matter, because you do matter. Our writer matters, and he deserves so much better than someone who thinks a random dude from high school is more important than the man she's been with for 2 years. Return that ring, King. Your real queen is out there somewhere, and she would never. Am I the asshole for choosing my wife over my mom? Okay, buckle up, everyone, because we're about to dive into some serious mother-in-law drama that's been brewing for a whole damn year, like a pot that's about to boil over. This is the kind of situation where you're reading it and you're like, bro, how did you let it get this far? But also, when it finally exploded, it was kind of beautiful in a messy, necessary way. So our writer is a 32-year-old dude who's been married to his 33-year-old wife for 5 years. Right off the bat, we need to talk about his background because it's important. He lost his dad when he was just 16 years old, which is absolutely devastating. And he's an only child. So after his dad passed, it was just him and his mom against the world. He describes her as one of the strongest women I know and says when he was shattered, she held everything together. The love he has for his mom is clear as day. He says he loves her more than anything. Now, here's where things get interesting. Our writer met his wife in their first year of college, so they've basically grown up together, as he puts it. She's his world. And right now, all three of them, him, his wife, and his mom, are living together in their apartment because his mom is getting older and needs care. He actually says he feels lucky to have the two most important women in his life under one roof. Oh, honey, honey, honey. That's about to age like milk. Both our writer and his wife have good careers. They're ambitious, they're doing well in life. And here's the thing, they don't have a child, and that's a conscious decision. Our writer says he's okay either way. He loves kids and would love to have one someday, but his wife doesn't want one right now, and maybe not ever. They've had long conversations about it. He's never forced her, and he respects that it's her body and her choice, especially since she's at the peak of her career and doesn't feel ready for motherhood and doesn't know if she ever will. I want to pause here because I actually really respect how our writer frames this initially. He's not pressuring his wife. He understands her reasoning. He's accepted her decision. That's mature. That's supportive. That's what a partner should do. But here's where the whole thing goes sideways. His mom desperately wants a grandchild. And when I say desperately, I mean this woman has been on a year-long campaign of emotional manipulation and passive-aggressive comments that would make a guilt trip travel agency jealous. For the past year, 365 days, she's been dropping subtle comments like, "You'll understand when you have your own. Don't wait too long. Women regret it later." Our writer kept brushing it off, hoping it would fade. Spoiler alert, it did not fade. It escalated. 2 days ago, they had guests over who brought their kids. After the guests left, his mom looked directly at his wife and said, and I need you to really absorb this, "You can't even give me one grandchild? Isn't that what women are meant to do? Your biological clock is already expiring. I'm sorry. What now? What women are meant to do? Give me? Like a grandchild is some kind of gift certificate his wife owes her? And the biological clock comment? That's not just rude. That's weaponized rudeness. That's going for the jugular." His wife immediately stood up for herself, as she should, and said, "Isn't it my decision whether I want to have a child?" Damn right, it is. This turned into a heated argument, and our writer finally, after a year of letting this slide, stepped in and told his mom, "Please stop forcing us. It's her decision. Whatever she decides is final. You don't get to talk to her like that." Now, he admits his tone was harsh. He's never raised his voice at his mom before in his entire life, but this time he snapped. He'd been this time these comments for a year, and hearing his mom question his wife's worth as a woman just broke something in him. And you know what? Good. Sometimes you need to snap. Sometimes people don't hear you until you raise your voice. Sometimes being polite and gentle doesn't work when someone keeps crossing boundaries. But now, and here's where the emotional manipulation really kicks in, his mom hasn't spoken to him in 2 days. The house feels tense. He feels guilty for shouting at the woman who sacrificed everything for him. But he also feels like if he hadn't stepped in, he would have failed his wife. And get this, his mom hasn't been eating well and has mentioned she wants to move out. Oh, so now she's the victim? After a year of harassing her daughter in law about having kids, after reducing a successful career woman to nothing but a potential incubator, she's pulling the silent treatment and the I'll just leave then card. That's manipulation 101, folks. Let me break down what's actually happening here because there are layers to this dysfunction. First of all, our writer asking, am I the asshole for losing my temper and shouting at my old mom like this? Is the wrong question. The right question is, am I the asshole for letting my mom disrespect my wife for an entire year before finally saying something? Because, yeah, he finally did the right thing. But he should have done it months ago. The first time, the first time his mom made a comment about grandkids, he should have pulled her aside and said, Mom, I love you, but our reproductive choices are not up for discussion. This topic is off limits. If you bring it up again, there will be consequences. But he didn't. He brushed it off and hoped it would fade. And you know what his silence communicated to his mom? That her behavior was acceptable, that she could keep pushing, that maybe if she just kept at it long enough, she'd wear them down. And his wife, his poor wife, has been living with her mother in law who has been making these comments for a year. Can you imagine? You're trying to relax in your own home, focus on your career, live your life, and you've got your husband's mom constantly dropping hints about your biological clock and how you'll understand when you have your own, and basically implying you're failing as a woman because you haven't popped out a grandkid for her yet. I would have lost it way before this. The fact that his wife held it together this long is honestly impressive. Let's talk about what his mom said because it's truly wild. You can't even give me one grandchild? Give me. Like a grandchild is a present. Like his wife's body and life choices exist to fulfill his mother's desires. The entitlement is staggering. Isn't that what women are meant to do? Oh, so women are just baby making machines? That's our purpose? Not having careers or dreams or autonomy over our own bodies, but just fulfilling some biological destiny to make sure old ladies get grandbabies to coo over? Make it make sense. Your biological clock is already expiring. First of all, she's 33, not 53. Second of all, even if she was older, that's none of your business. Third, the cruelty of saying this to someone, whether they want kids or not, is just breathtaking. It's designed to create panic, insecurity, and shame. This wasn't a gentle hint. This wasn't concern. This was an attack. And it was calculated. She waited until after guests left, but the comment came right after being around other people's kids. She was rubbing it in. She was getting a point. Now, let's talk about our writer's response, because while I'm glad he finally stood up for his wife, there's a problem with how he did it. He said, it's her decision. Whatever she decides is final. Her decision. Her, not our decision. Not we've decided as a couple. Not this is a choice my wife and I made together. He threw his wife under the bus. He basically told his mom, look, I'd probably be okay with kids, but she doesn't want them, so blame her, not me. Whether he meant it that way or not, that's how it comes across. And that's a problem because now his mom sees his wife as the only obstacle to getting what she wants. If he'd said, we have decided not to have children right now, and that decision is ours to make as a couple, not yours to influence, that would have been a united front. That would have made it clear that his mom can't drive a wedge between them. But instead, he made it about his wife's choice, which just paints a target on her back. Several commenters picked up on this immediately. Commenter Uz Dimarag said, NTA, but instead of waiting and putting the weight over your wife, I would talk as a team. Your mom may think that you want a baby, but are okay with whatever your wife says, making her the villain. Exactly. He's inadvertently setting his wife up to be the bad guy in his mom's eyes. Poor son wants a baby, but his selfish wife won't give him one. That's the narrative he's created, whether he meant to or not. And commenter U Pandazzini added, this should be higher up. You did the right thing in defending your wife, although too late. But where you really went wrong is that you put it all on your wife's decision. It is your joint decision. You should have said it is our decision as to whether or not have kids. You see the difference? Yes. The difference is huge. One makes them a team, the other makes his wife the scapegoat. Then commenter you Spooky Spaget said, I love kids and would love to have one someday. Or he wants kids and just won't admit it to his wife how important it actually is to him. And commenter u/vulgar verbiage replied, that's 100% what's happening here. He wants a kid. He's holding out hope his wife will change her mind. She probably won't. Now, this is interesting because our writer even responded to this thread. He said, am I a bad person for wanting kids? I won't deny it. I love kids. I would love to have little versions of me and my wife running around someday. But does that make me a bad husband? Is that some evil desire? My wife doesn't want kids. She's sure, at least for now, and not even once. Not even once. Have I asked her to change her mind? I respect her. I support her decision fully. I would never force her. And if being child-free is what our life looks like, then I'm ready for that. Happily. I'm standing by her. We're two different individuals. We can have different desires and still love each other deeply. What matters is that we respect each other's choices, and I do. Okay, so he does want kids. And he's hoping she might change her mind, at least for now. But he's also saying he's accepted that she might not, and he's okay with that. Here's the thing. It's not bad to want kids. It's not evil. But it is something that needs to be crystal clear between partners because it's one of those fundamental incompatibilities that can destroy a marriage if not handled properly. If he secretly resents her for not wanting kids, or if he's quietly hoping she'll change her mind, that's going to fester and poison their relationship. And honestly, I wonder if his mom's constant pressure is partly because he's communicated to her that he wants kids. Maybe not directly, but through comments or conversations over the years. So she sees herself as fighting for what her son wants, but is too polite to push for. Commenter Oshitsu had a really thoughtful response. Hey, I just want to say I think you're doing okay here, bud. You're doing the right thing by standing by your wife. The fact you can admit that and also compromise on it is major. Sounds like you genuinely love your wife and you're okay the possibility she won't change her mind. Maybe try explaining that more to your mom, the fact you're okay with it. And that's good advice. If he makes it clear to his mom that he is also on board with being child-free, that removes his wife from the firing line. But let's get back to the situation at hand because there's so much more to unpack here. His mom is now giving him the silent treatment, not eating well, and talking about moving out. This is classic emotional manipulation. She's punishing him for setting a boundary. She's making him feel guilty for defending his wife. She's playing the victim when she was the aggressor. And it's working. He's questioning whether he's a good son. He's feeling guilty. He's worried about the woman who sacrificed everything for him. Commenter, you poop the ocean of Fumust, absolutely nailed it with this response. It also screams codependent from the mom. OP, you mentioned your mom sacrificing for you as a child. She did do that, but it looks like that act may have warped her thought process over time, and now she feels like she needs to take care of you even as an adult. From the outside, this looks like a classic case of boy mom who refuses to let go. The fact that you've entertained her speaking this way to your wife for so long has only set her up to see herself as the parent in your relationship with your spouse. It's incredibly unhealthy. Mentally healthy moms let their kids flourish when they leave the nest. Not only is your mom clutching to keep you when you set entirely reasonable boundaries, but she turns to manipulation, silent treatment, when she doesn't get her way. Your gut isn't wrong. This isn't normal. Your mom is supposed to be an adult and she's not acting like one. Your choice is to give in and live with the chaos that brings, or hold on to your peace. Otherwise, she learns that her manipulative tactics work and will keep pushing. The fact that you're questioning if you're a good son for upholding your wife's Very, very reasonable opinion has me worried. That screams years of your mom eroding your boundaries bit by bit. You're allowed to be your own person. You're supposed to be. Your mom should want you to thrive independently of her. This, all of this, the codependency is real. Our writer lost his dad at 16, and he and his mom became a unit. She was strong, she held everything together, and he's been loyal to her ever since. That's beautiful. But it's also created an unhealthy dynamic where he feels like he owes her his life, and she feels entitled to have input on every aspect of it. And now she's living with them, which makes the whole thing even more complicated. There's no escape from the tension. There's no, we'll see you at Sunday dinner. It's 24/7 proximity. Commenter you slash Captain Lollygag made an excellent point about this. Possibly adding to your codependency point is that the mother moved in with them because, according to OP, she's getting older and needs help. OP is in his mid 30s, so it's likely his mother is in her 50s. Unless she's got health problems, she's not old enough to be needing extra help beyond what a handyman could do around her house. Based on the rest of the post, I'm wondering if mother manipulated her way into OP's home because she can't let go. Boom. How old is his mom? If he's 32, she could be anywhere from early 50s to early 70s, depending on when she had him. Um, if she's on the younger end of that range, why does she need care? Is she actually unable to live independently, or did she just want to live with her son and used "I'm getting older" as an excuse? Because if she's perfectly capable of living on her own, but chose to move in with them, that's a whole other level of boundary violation. And his wife has been a saint for allowing it. Let's talk about his wife for a second, because she's the real hero of this story, and she's getting very little credit for it. She's at the peak of her career. She's ambitious. She's successful. And she's sharing her home, her sanctuary, her space, mother-in-law, who has been making passive aggressive comments about her reproductive choices for an entire year. Do you know how exhausting that is? Do you know how much emotional labor it takes to just exist in a space where someone is constantly judging you, where every family gathering with kids is followed by pointed comments, where your worth as a woman is being questioned on a regular basis? She could have put her foot down at any point and said, "Your mom needs to move out." She could have given her husband an ultimatum. She could have caused a huge fight, but she didn't. She handled it with grace and dignity for a year until finally, when his mom attacked her directly, she stood up for herself and said, "Isn't it my decision whether I want to have a child?" That's not aggressive. That's not rude. That's a simple statement of fact delivered in the face of a deeply inappropriate comment. And her husband finally backed her up. But here's the thing, it shouldn't have taken a year. It shouldn't have taken his mom outright attacking his wife for him to step in. He should have shut this down the first time his mom made a comment. Commenter slash K temporary 88116 said, "Yita, only for the fact you say you've been ignoring these comments for a year. Man up and stick up for the wife more, please. Your mom felt she could say this stuff because you kept giving an inch and giving an inch, so she decided it was time to take a mile." Yet, every time he let a comment slide, his mom got bolder. She tested the boundaries, and when he didn't enforce them, she pushed further. That's how boundary violations work. People keep pushing until they hit resistance. And commenter Use Aeneas Second added, "To add, it's our decision, not just your wife's. Make it clear that you support her on that." Again, crucial. He needs to make it clear this is a team decision, not just his wife being difficult. Uh, Now let's talk about some of the comments because Reddit had thoughts. Commenter U slash Liu 1845 said, "NTA mom shouldn't be even hinting about grandkids. Not her choice, not her business. She lived her life with her choices. You and your wife get to do the same. Mom needs to get some interests and activities to occupy her time. Right now, it's all she is dwelling on. IMO, it's a mistake having her live with you. You and your wife are living your lives right in her face, 24/7. Get her her own place near you. Get her a pet, a puppy or kitten to take care of. Encourage her to get involved in community service. Volunteering at a shelter, human or animal, would give her place to use her grandmother instincts without harassing you and your wife." This is actually really practical advice. His mom clearly has too much time on her hands, and has made getting a grandchild her entire personality. If she had other things to focus on, volunteer work, hobbies, a pet, a social life, she wouldn't be so fixated on this one thing. But also, maybe she shouldn't be living with them. Maybe she needs her own space so she's not constantly in their business. Our writer actually responded to this and said, "Thank you. Honestly, I get wanting grandchildren. She mentions many times that she wants to live my childhood again through my children. It makes me emotional how much she loves me. I really understand it, but shaming my wife over it, not acceptable. I've never raised my voice at my mom before, but this time I couldn't hold back." Okay, so there's this interesting detail that keeps coming up. His mom wants to live his childhood again through his children. On the surface, that sounds sweet, like, she has such fond memories of raising him that she wants to experience that joy again through grandkids. But actually, that's kind of creepy. Grandkids are not do-over babies. They're not a chance for you to relive your parenting years. They're separate people who belong to their parents, not their grandparents. And this whole reliving his childhood thing suggests his mom sees any potential grandchild as her experience, not as his and his wife's child. Which means if they did have a kid, she'd probably be intrusive and overbearing and try to take over parenting decisions because in her mind, this is her do-over. Multiple commenters picked up on this red flag. Commenter U Slightly Sane Moma 5 said, "Wanting to live your childhood again is also a problem. Your mom would want to act as a primary parent, and your decisions, boundaries about a child would be a constant battle." This is coming from a woman who married an only child. Maya Mael lost it when I told her I was not handing over our firstborn for her to raise. Everything was a battle. The baby wasn't my child, it was her grandchild who she intended to raise. The more she fought for control, the more we withdrew. It was not the grandma experience she wanted, so she was determined to make everyone miserable. Oh my God, this is exactly what would happen. His mom would try to take over. She'd undermine their parenting. She'd think she knows best because I raised you and you turned out great. It would be a nightmare. Commenter Terrell said, "Be careful with that. It sounds like your mom is going to want to parent the kid too, and that's absolutely not okay." And commenter u/iSeeker added, "That would make the relationship between the wife and the mom even worse. They'd fight over to parent the kid. And given that OP is her only child and she desperately wants to be a mother again, I don't see the mom giving up so easily." So basically, even if his wife did want kids, having them while living with his mom would be a disaster. There's also this whole issue of his mom's age and whether she actually needs to live with them. Commenter Use the White Veronica asked some important questions. 1. How old is your mom? 2. What exactly does she need from you at this point in her life? 3. It sounds like you've been raised to believe that your mom is some fragile person that just has to have her little son help with things. So why not move in with him? 4. Based on the few things you mentioned about your mom, she seems manipulative. You may not see it because there's probably a lot of good things she's done throughout your life, but I guarantee if you ask your wife, she will also say your mom can be manipulative. These are great questions. What does his mom actually need? Is she truly unable to care for herself, or has she just convinced him that she needs him? Because the way she's acting, making demands, throwing tantrums when she doesn't get her way, giving the silent treatment, doesn't sound like someone who's too old and frail to live independently. It sounds like someone who is perfectly capable of manipulation and control. Let's talk about the silent treatment for a second, because it's textbook manipulation. His mom hasn't spoken to him in 2 days. She's not eating well. She's mentioned she wants to move out. This is all designed to make him feel guilty and panic and cave to her demands. It's emotional blackmail. If you don't give me what I want, I'll punish you by withdrawing my love and making you worry about my health and threatening to abandon you. For someone who lost his father at 16 and has only had his mom for half his life, the threat of her leaving is probably terrifying. She knows this. She's using it. Commenter U2020PWW said, "Are you kidding me? Your mother is using manipulation techniques, not eating, etc. She is an adult. Treat her as one. She is not 6 and should stop acting like it. Where is your concern for your wife?" Exactly. She's acting like a child throwing a tantrum, and he's falling for it. And commenter used direct bar 7709 laid it out perfectly. You're literally letting your mom live with you. Not letting your mom abuse your wife doesn't suddenly make you a bad son. She's being a bad mother in law and mother right now, and the silent treatment, pouting, and threats to move out are manipulation to make you panic and give in to her nonsense. Give her the damn silent treatment right back. She needs to apologize to your wife. If she wants to move out, let her. Give her rental listings in your area. She doesn't get to ride the coattails of being a single mom forever and use it as an excuse to be cruel and bully your wife. Yes, his mom being a single mom who raised him after his dad died is sad, and she deserves credit for that. But it doesn't give her a lifetime pass to treat people badly. It doesn't mean she gets to make unreasonable demands. It doesn't mean he owes her a grandchild. She made a choice to have one child. If grandkids were so important to her, maybe she should have had more kids to increase her odds. But she didn't, and that was her choice. And now she's demanding her son and daughter in law sacrifice their choices to give her what she wants. Several commenters made this point. Commenter You Curious Coconut 4005 said, perhaps this pre grandma should have thought about this when she decided one child was enough for her. And commenter You/Juniper Thereabout said, if grandkids was so important, she probably should have gotten more than one kid herself, would give her better odds. You should have stopped this nagging ages ago. It's honestly wild that she had one kid and is now putting all the pressure on that one kid to give her grandchildren. Like she put all her eggs in one basket, literally. And now she's mad the basket isn't producing more eggs. Now let's talk about what our writer should actually do here, because he's clearly torn between his love for his mom and his responsibility to his wife. First, he needs to apologize to his wife, not for defending her. That was the right thing to do, but for letting it go on for so long. He should say something like, I'm sorry I didn't shut down my mom's comments sooner. You shouldn't have had to endure a year of that. I was wrong to hope it would just go away on its own. I should have had your back from day one, and I'm sorry I didn't. Going forward, I will not tolerate anyone, including my mother, disrespecting you or our choices. Second, he needs to have a conversation with his mom where he makes several things crystal clear. Crystal clear. One, the decision about whether to have children is his and his wife's decision as a couple. It's not just his wife being difficult. He is also on board with being child-free right now. Two, this topic is off limits going forward. She doesn't get to hint, suggest, guilt, or pressure. It's not open for discussion. Three, if she brings it up again, there will be consequences. What those consequences are is up to him, but they need to be real. Maybe she has to leave the apartment for a few hours. Maybe she has to move out. Maybe they go low contact for a while. But there have to be actual consequences or she won't take him seriously. Four, her silent treatment and threats to move out are manipulative and will not work. If she wants to move out, he'll help her find a place, but he's not going to be emotionally blackmailed into allowing her to disrespect his wife. Third, he needs to seriously consider whether having his mom live with them is sustainable long term. Even if she stops the grandkid talk, the dynamic is unhealthy. His wife deserves to feel comfortable in her own home. They deserve privacy and space to be a couple without a third person constantly present. If his mom genuinely needs care, there are other options: assisted living, a nearby apartment where he can check on her regularly, hiring a caregiver, etc. But she's getting older, is pretty vague, and unless she has specific health issues that require constant supervision, she probably doesn't need to live with them. Fourth, he needs to do some soul searching about what he actually wants regarding kids. Because if he does want them and is just going along with his wife's decision while secretly hoping she'll change her mind, that's not sustainable. That resentment will build. They need to have an honest conversation about whether this is a deal breaker for him or if he's truly at peace with being child free. Now, let's talk about the broader issue here, because this isn't just about one fight or one boundary violation. This is about a fundamental power dynamic in their household. Right now, his mom feels entitled to have opinions about their life choices. She feels comfortable making demands. She feels like she has a say in whether they have kids. Why does she feel this way? Because she's never been told otherwise. Because our writer has been so focused on being a good son that he's allowed her to overstep boundaries for years. Probably not just about kids, but about other things too. When you grow up as an only child with a single parent, especially after experiencing the trauma of losing your other parent, you often develop this sense of responsibility for your remaining parent's happiness. You become enmeshed. Your boundaries get blurry because for so long it was just the two of you against the world. But he's not a child anymore. He's a married man with his own household, and his primary responsibility is now to his wife, not his mother. That doesn't mean abandoning his mom or not caring for her. It means establishing appropriate boundaries and recognizing that his marriage comes first. Commenter This Is America said it plainly. This, OP, you either choose your family or your mother. And commenter /reasonable shark added, he is really putting his marriage at risk. His wife was already a saint for accepting living with her Emil. This is true. How many women would be willing to live with their mother-in-law? Especially one who's constantly making passive-aggressive comments. His wife has been incredibly patient and understanding, but everyone has a limit. Commenter Carbonatite had an interesting theory. $10 says the stuff OP mentioned is the tip of the iceberg, and his wife has been listening to far worse when his mom knows he's out of earshot. I'm a 40-year-old child-free woman. I look a lot younger than my age, though, so I still get a lot of comments on this crap. And the stuff people say to women who have chosen their career over childbearing is wildly offensive, even in the year 2026. Oh, you know his mom has been saying worse stuff when he's not around. The comment about what women are meant to do and biological clock expiring was what she was comfortable saying in front of him. Imagine what she said directly to his wife when it's just the two of them. His wife has probably been dealing with so much that he doesn't even know about.
Right.
This is why he needs to make it abundantly clear to his mom that his wife is not the problem, that they as a couple have made this decision and that it's final. There's also this whole thing about his mom wanting to relive his childhood that honestly creeps me out the more I think about it. Commenter you been to the high 4 said, it's not your wife's responsibility to let your mom relive her mothering days when you were little. Your mom sounds like she doesn't have anything else going on in her life to keep her occupied, and that's her problem, not you and your wife's. She's grasping at that past because she didn't make plans to have a present or future without the singular role of mothering being involved.
This.
His mom has made her entire identity about being a mother. Now that he's grown, she's lost her purpose. So she's trying to create a new purpose by being a grandmother, and she's not taking no for an answer. That's her issue to work through. That's something she needs to address, maybe through finding hobbies and interests, maybe through volunteering with kids if she really wants to be around them. But it's not his and his wife's responsibility to create a human being just to give his mom something to do. Commenter u/goober5585 said, your mom wants a grandchild for selfish reasons. It's all about her. My guess is she hasn't done much to develop herself as an individual and is bored with her life. Don't assume this is about how much she loves you. It seems to me that it's about her not being a well-rounded person with a life of her own. Bingo. This isn't about love. This is about his mom trying to fill a void in her life by controlling someone else's reproductive choices. And the audacity of saying, give me a grandchild like it's a gift she's owed, the entitlement is off the charts. Commenter Use Hairy Legs pointed out also the give me a grandchild thing, oof. Just those 4 words tell you everything about how she sees this situation. It's not about our writer and his wife making a choice that's right for them. It's about her getting what she wants. Now, there are a few commenters who had a different take, and I think it's worth addressing. Commenter Yu Sitamamama said, what in the world is with these comments? Do we live on different planets? Help yourself to the kitchen should never be assumed to include any alcohol within the kitchen. No, it's not. It's just flatly out of line. Even if I was good friends with someone, at the least I would text and ask first if I could open X bottle, not just crack someone's unopened booze and dig in. Wait, what? Oh, I think this commenter got confused and thought this was the wine post. Wrong thread, buddy. Actually, several comments seem to be about wine and house sitting, so there might have been some copy paste errors in the document, but the vast majority of comments are about our actual situation. Okay, so let's get to the verdict because that's what everyone's here for. Is our writer the asshole? The answer is no, but also kind of yes, but mostly no. He's NTA, not the asshole, for finally standing up to his mom and defending his wife. That was the right thing to do, and it was long overdue. His mom was completely out of line, and she needed to be told in no uncertain terms that her behavior was unacceptable. But he is kind of TA, the asshole, for 1, letting it go on for a year before saying anything, 2, making it seem like it's just his wife's decision instead of their decision as a couple, 3, allowing his mother to live with them without establishing clear boundaries first, 4, prioritizing his mom's feelings over his wife's comfort for so long. So I'd say he's NTA for the specific incident, standing up to his mom, but he's been TA throughout the larger situation by not protecting his wife sooner. The real assholes here are 1, his mom for a year of passive aggressive harassment, 2, his mom for the what women are meant to do comment, 3, his mom for the biological clock expiring comment, 4, his mom for acting like a grandchild is something she's owed, 5, his mom for using emotional manipulation, silent treatment, not eating, threatening to leave when she got called out, 6, his mom for making her son's reproductive choices about her wants instead of respecting their autonomy. Notice a pattern? His mom is the problem here. She's the one who created this whole situation by refusing to respect boundaries. She's the one who escalated from hints to outright attacks. She's the one who's now playing the victim when she was the aggressor. Our writer needs to stop feeling guilty for defending his wife. 2, stop treating his mom like she's fragile when she's clearly strong enough to wage a year-long campaign of emotional manipulation. 3, have a serious conversation with his wife about how she's really feeling about all this. 4, make it clear to his mom that this is a joint decision and his wife is not the villain. 5, establish firm boundaries with consequences. 6, consider whether his mom should continue living with them. 7, maybe get some therapy to work through the enmeshment issues and guilt. Because here's the thing, being a good son doesn't mean letting your mom treat your wife badly. Being a good son doesn't mean sacrificing your marriage to keep your mom happy. Being a good son doesn't mean you owe your mom a grandchild. Being a good son means treating your mom with respect while also maintaining healthy boundaries. It means caring for her needs while also prioritizing your marriage. It means loving her while also standing up to her when she's wrong. And she is wrong. She's been wrong this whole time. Commenter, you little bear, score 268, summed it up perfectly. NTA. Your wife isn't an incubator. Your mom crossed a line. Pray, wanting grandkids is fine. Shaming a woman for not providing them isn't. And commenter uloveyDove05 said, exactly. Period. The man was acting like a man should. He finally acted like a husband should. He finally put his wife first. He finally set a boundary with his mom. It shouldn't have taken this long, but at least he did it. Now he needs to maintain that boundary and not let his mom guilt trip him into backing down, because you know she's going to try. The silent treatment is just the beginning. Next will come the tears, the after everything I sacrificed for you, the I just want to see my grandchild before I die, the health scares, the manipulation. He needs to stay strong. His wife is his family now. His wife is his partner. His wife is the person he chose to build a life with. And if his mom can't respect that, if his mom can't respect them, then maybe she should move out. Because here's a harsh truth. His wife has been incredibly patient. She's put up with living with her mother-in-law. She's endured a year of passive-aggressive comments. She's been reduced to her reproductive organs and told she's failing as a woman. How much more is she supposed to take before she says enough? If he doesn't establish firm boundaries now, if he doesn't make it absolutely clear that his wife comes first, he will lose his marriage. And then his mom will get what she wants, him all to herself again, until maybe he finds someone else who will give her grandkids. Because that's what this is really about, control. Uh, Commenter UCX444 put it bluntly, yeah, so sorry I'm shattering your world here, but your wife and mom's relationship is done. You're going to end up having to choose between your wife or your mom moving forward. You can't be a mommy's boy forever, unless you want to be just a mommy's boy forever. Hard truth, but truth. He has to choose. Not because anyone's making him, but because his mom has made it impossible for both relationships to coexist peacefully under one roof. So here's my final take. Not the asshole for finally standing up to your mom, but you need to do better going forward. Your wife deserves a partner who has her back from the first boundary violation, not the 100th. Your mom needs to understand that her wants do not override your and your wife's autonomy. You need to figure out whether your mom living with you is sustainable or if it's time for her to have her own space. Also, seriously consider therapy. Not because you're broken, but because you've got some complex family dynamics to untangle, and a professional can help you navigate setting boundaries with your mom without the crushing guilt you're clearly feeling. Your mom sacrificed for you, yes, but you don't owe her your life, your marriage, or a grandchild. You owe her respect and care within healthy boundaries. There's a difference. Stand by your wife, set firm boundaries. Don't let your mom manipulate you with tears and silent treatments. And for the love of all that is holy, make it clear that the decision to be child free is yours as a couple, not just your wife being difficult. You got this, but you got to actually do it, not just do it once and then cave when your mom pouts. Final verdict. Not the asshole for standing up to your mom, but you've got work to do to make up for the year you let your wife suffer in silence. Now go. 1, apologize to your wife. 2, set some boundaries with your mom. 3, maybe look into getting your mom her own apartment nearby. Everyone will be happier with some space and clear expectations. And to your mom, grandchildren are not something you're owed. They're not a participation trophy for raising a kid. If you want to be around children, volunteer, foster, work at a daycare, but stop harassing your daughter-in-law and trying to control other people's bodies and life choices. It's not a good look. Am I the asshole for asking my friend to pay me back for the wine he drank while house sitting? All right, folks, buckle up because we're about to dive headfirst into what might be the most passive-aggressive Venmo request in human history. We've got expensive wine, unclear communication, and a friendship that's about to get as sour as a bottle of $2 Chuck left open in the sun. This is the kind of drama that makes you go, wait, and then immediately text your group chat about it. So our writer, a 26-year-old woman, needs someone to watch her place and her cat for the weekend. Totally normal request, right? She asks her 27-year-old male friend to do the honors. And here's where things get interesting. She tells him he can help himself to whatever in the kitchen. Now, to most of us peasants, that means like the chips in the pantry, maybe some leftover pizza, a soda from the fridge, normal house sitting snack privileges. But plot twist. Our writer gets home and discovers that her friend opened and drank, no, not just had a glass of, but drank the entire $120 bottle of vintage Barolo she was saving for her promotion. The whole thing. Solo, while watching Netflix, like it was a $12 bottle of grocery store Merlot. I'm going to pause here because can we talk about the image of this dude just casually demolishing an entire bottle of wine by himself while binging whatever show was trending? That's either a very chill Friday night or a cry for help, and I'm not sure which. Like my guy really said, don't mind if I do, and went full sommelier on her special occasion wine. When our writer confronts him about it, he gets defensive and says she gave him permission because the wine was in the kitchen. And like, technically, he's not wrong. She did say, help yourself to whatever, and the wine was in the kitchen. But also, who just cracks open someone's unopened bottle of wine without at least sending a quick, hey, cool if I open this text? Our writer is understandably upset because, hello, that was a $120 bottle she was saving for when she got her promotion. She even knew the exact price because apparently she still had the receipt or remembered exactly what she paid. This wasn't some random bottle. This was a plan. This was celebration wine. This was, I'm going to pop this bad boy when I get that raise and feel fancy as hell wine. So what does she do? She sends him a Venmo request for $80. Not even the full $120. She gave him a discount. She literally said, gave him a discount, lol. Like she's running a clearance sale on consumed wine. I'm sorry, but the lol is sending me. There is nothing lol about this situation for either party involved. And now the friend is calling her tacky and told their entire group chat that she's a bad host. Their group chat. He took this beef public. He put her on blast in front of all their mutual friends over a Venmo request. That's a power move, honestly. Questionable, but bold. Our writer is out here trying to defend herself with the garage analogy. If I tell you to help yourself to my garage, it doesn't mean you can just drive off in my car. And like, I see what she's going for, but that comparison is wild. We're talking about a bottle of wine that was sitting in the kitchen where she explicitly said he could help himself to things, not a whole ass vehicle. A better comparison would be like, if I say help yourself to my garage, that doesn't mean you can take my rare vintage tools I'm saving for a special project. But even that's a stretch because, again, the wine was in the kitchen where she said to help himself. Let's break down what actually happened here because there are layers to this mess, like a sad lasagna. First, our writer asked her friend house sit and cat sit for the weekend. Now, she doesn't mention anywhere in this post whether she paid him for this service. That's a pretty glaring omission, don't you think? Because if this dude watched her house and her cat for free, then girl, that $120 bottle was actually a bargain compared to what a professional house sitter or cat sitter would have charged her. Let me hit you with some numbers real quick. According to literally any pet sitting service, in-home overnight pet sitting can run anywhere from $50 to $100 per night. For a weekend, she'd easily be looking at $150 to $300 minimum. So if her friend did this as a favor for free, she basically got premium service and is now trying to charge him for the wine he drank while providing that service. Make it make sense. Second, she told him, and I cannot stress this enough, to help himself to whatever in the kitchen. Not help yourself to snacks. Not help yourself to anything except the wine. Whatever. In the kitchen, where the wine was. That is what we call in the business giving someone carte blanche and then getting mad when they take you at your word. Third, and this is crucial, how the hell was he supposed to know that bottle was expensive? Unless this dude is a sommelier or a serious wine enthusiast, he's not going to be able to tell a $120 bottle from a $12 bottle just by looking at it. Wine bottles don't come with big price tags on them like, caution, expensive juice inside. They all look relatively similar to the untrained eye. It's just a bottle of red wine, you know? Commenter Use Rayon Jersey absolutely nailed it when they said, expensive and cheap bottles of wine look the same to people who don't know wine. Be more precise in your instructions for the person doing you a favor. Doing you a favor. That's the key phrase here. This man was doing her a solid, and she's out here acting like he maliciously targeted her most expensive bottle. And commenter U Moonraffin had an excellent point. Buddy probably thought he was doing a solid by chilling with the cat all evening instead of just feeding and watering and leaving. Like, yeah, maybe he figured he'd pour himself some wine, keep the cat company, make it a whole vibe. He was probably thinking, wow, my friend is so nice. She left me wine to enjoy while I watch her place, and now he's getting hit with a Venmo request like he stole something. The comment section is absolutely tearing our writer apart, and honestly, they're not wrong. The overwhelming consensus is YTA, you're the asshole, and people are bringing receipts. Commenter you baby cow T brought up the golden rule of hosting. Isn't it hosting one-on-one to put shit you don't want guests to see / use away? Especially if the phrase help yourself is being said. I put my toddler's favorite toys that she does not share well at all in her crib for playdates just to make sure nobody finds them. Yes, this is basic stuff. If you have something precious that you don't want people touching, you put it away. You don't leave it out in the open where you've explicitly told someone they can access things and then act shocked when they access it. It's like leaving your diary on the coffee table and being mad. Someone read it when you said, Make yourself at home. Commenter used head trick or score 9932 shared their own system. We get a house sitter when we vacation. My husband has favorite bourbon we put locked in our room. The rest of the liquor cabinet is fair game. The rest of the house is fair game. I try to be a gracious host with clear instructions, lol. Locked. In. Room. That's how you protect your special bottles, folks. You don't leave them in the general population and hope people have psychic abilities to know which ones are off limits.
Cha.
Multiple commenters pointed out the friend probably had no idea about the cost. Commenter u slash at aggro chick said, yeah, I love wine and drink it somewhat regularly. I still doubt I'd be able to tell which ones were the more expensive ones. And if someone who regularly drinks wine can't tell, how is a casual drinker supposed to know? But here's where it gets even better. Commentus Moonraffen dropped this gem. $120 is probably about what it would cost to hire a cat sitter, so yeah. Boom. There it is. The math is mathing, and it's not looking good for our writer. She's essentially trying to charge her friend for a service he provided for free by requesting payment for wine she told him he could drink. And commenter u slash illturnip 6611 took it even further. Yeah, exactly what I wanted to say. He should just send her an invoice for $200. I am cackling at the idea of this friend just hitting her back with a Venmo request for his house sitting services. Weekend cat care and house security, $200, minus $120 for wine consumed with permission. You owe me $80. Thanks. Now, our writer did eventually comment, yeah, think her right, in response to someone telling her to chalk it up to miscommunication. So she seems to have realized she messed up, which is good. Growth, character development. But let's talk about the damage that's already been done. She sent that Venmo request. It's out there. Her friend told the group chat she's tacky and a bad host. This whole situation has blown up way beyond a simple, oops, miscommunication, my bad. Commenter u slash femgrit suggested damage control. I think if you delete the Venmo request and say, I'm sorry I wasn't clear and that I blamed you for that, I really appreciate the huge favor and hope we can move past this as friends. It should be salvageable, TBH, live and learn, etc. Solid advice. But also someone replied, unless he finds the Reddit post El Mayo. And honestly, that would be peak internet drama. Imagine finding out your friend posted about your wine drinking habits on Reddit and thousands of people are calling her the asshole. That's a friendship ender right there. The car garage analogy our writer used is getting absolutely roasted in the comments too. Commenter u slash fun rutabaga 6357 said, to OP's comment on if I said to help yourself to my garage, will you drive off in my car? Yes, that's literally what help yourself means. And commenter u slash Sandra added, seriously, if someone took me into their garage, waved about generally and said feel free to use whatever and left their car keys out, yeah, I'd assume using the car was free game. The analogy doesn't work because the wine wasn't in some special separate location like a wine cellar or a locked cabinet. It was in the kitchen where she told him to help himself. And it would be more like if she said, help yourself to anything in the garage, and then got mad he used her hammer instead of knowing she was saving that specific hammer for a future project. Like, how was he supposed to know? People are also pointing out that our writer said it's also just $120 at the end of her post, which is kind of telling. Commenter U Pudge Hooks 2013 caught this. The last four words reveal OP's true nature. Everything she said before that is self-serving garbage. It's also just $120. If it's just $120, why be upset about it at all or even bring it up? It's just $120. Exactly. Either it's a significant amount worth fighting over or it's just $120 that you can let go. You can't have it both ways. And if it's just $120, then why are you willing to damage a friendship over it? There's also a whole subset of comments from people who are baffled that anyone would touch someone else's alcohol without asking first. Commenter u slash can you feel it McCrab said, I feel nuts reading these comments. I would not touch my friend's alcohol if I was house sitting for them. Logic says help yourself means snacks, juice, soft drinks, water, etc., not liquor or wine. I would ask first before touching alcohol. And you know what? That's a fair point too. There is an argument to be made that alcohol falls into a different category than food, and that you should probably ask before opening someone's booze. But the counterargument is that if our writer meant for alcohol to be off limits, she should have said so. Commenter you Sitama Mama came in hot with this take. What in the world is with these comments? Do we live on different planets? Help yourself to the kitchen? Should never be assumed to include any alcohol within the kitchen. The assumption for a normal person is, oh, I can eat the snacks, food, and drink the soda and water. Not cool. Obviously, they mean their beer slash liquor wine. What the heck? So there's definitely a divide in the comments about whether help yourself to whatever includes alcohol or not. Some people think it's obvious that you don't touch someone's alcohol without permission. Others think that if it's in the designated help yourself zone and you said whatever, then it's fair game. Personally, I think this comes down to communication and common sense from both parties. Should the friend have maybe texted to ask before opening an unopened bottle of wine? Probably. Yeah, that would have been the courteous thing to do. But should our writer have been more specific about what was off limits, especially regarding an expensive bottle she was saving for a special occasion? Absolutely. This is what we call an ESH situation for a lot of people. Everyone sucks here. But the majority of commenters are landing on YTA because ultimately, our writer gave explicit permission, didn't specify any exceptions, didn't put the special bottle away, and then tried to charge her friend after he provided a free service. Commenter Use Momene said it best. He also just ensured none of his friends will do him a favor again. Edit in the original comment. Sorry, OP is a woman. Loving some of these replies, though. And that's the real cost here, isn't it? Not the $120 for the wine. The cost is the damage to the friendship and the fact that nobody in that friend group is probably going to want to house sit for our writer ever again. Word gets around. Oh, you need a cat sitter? Remember when Sarah charged Mike for the wine she told him he could drink? Yeah, I'm busy that weekend. Let's also talk about the entitlement angle here because commenter u/Portes B brought up an excellent point. OP is getting a promotion and can afford 120 bottles of wine while her friend house sits. I'm guessing $120 bucks is a much bigger amount for him than her. I know that has nothing to do with right and wrong, but when it's such a clear case of an honest mistake, it really feels like OP should just let it go. And they edited to add, I keep thinking about this. I really wonder if OP compensated her friend at all for taking care of her cat with anything besides snacks. Seems like something she would have mentioned. Seems like a real cheapwad. Oof. But also, yeah, if she had paid him anything for house sitting, you'd think she would have mentioned that to strengthen her case. The fact that she didn't mention payment at all strongly suggests this was a free favor, and which makes the Venmo request even worse. You know what a normal, non-tacky response would have been? Hey, just so you know, for future reference, that wine you drank was actually pretty expensive and I was saving it for my promotion celebration. No worries though. I should have mentioned it before I left. Thanks so much for watching the place. Done. Lesson learned on both sides, friendship intact, everybody moves on. Or if she really felt like he owed her, hey, that bottle was actually $120 and I was saving it for my promotion. I know I said help yourself, so that's on me for not being clear. But would you mind going half with me on replay since it was kind of a special occasion bottle? That's at least a conversation instead of just hitting him with a Venmo demand. But no. She went straight for the Venmo request, like she was invoicing him for services rendered, and then she gave him a discount, like she's doing him a favor. Girl, no, that's not how this works. The gave him a discount lol line is really bothering me because it shows she thinks she's being generous here. Like she's expecting gratitude for only charging him $80 instead of $120. Ma'am, he provided you with free house sitting and cat care services worth at least $150 to $300, and you're nickel and diming him over wine you explicitly told him he could have. The math ain't mathing. Commenter Yugi Nerps shared how a normal person handles this. Exactly. I have a family friend who I house sit for a couple times a year. She always tells me to help myself to anything in the house except for the wines on the bottom row of the rack. So I drink her cheap wine and leave the expensive stuff alone. Everyone's happy. See, that's how it's done. Clear communication, specific boundaries. Help yourself to everything except these specific items. It's not hard. Our writer could have easily said, help yourself to whatever's in the kitchen, but FYI, I'm saving that Barolo for a special occasion, so maybe skip that one. Problem solved before it even became a problem. Now let's address the group chat situation because that's its own level of mess. The friend told our group chat I'm a bad host. This man took their private dispute and made it a public referendum on our writer's hosting abilities. That's messy. That's stirring the pot. That's I'm calling in backup because I know I'm right and I want everyone to know you're being unreasonable. And honestly, based on the responses our writer is getting on Reddit, I'm guessing the group chat probably sided with the friend. Because while drinking an entire bottle of expensive wine might be a faux pas, sending a Venmo request to someone who just did you a huge favor for free is definitely tackier. Commenter off model cartoon said, if someone I knew was asking our friend to pet sit for free, I'd already think they were a huge cheapskate, but I'd let it go. But then if I heard that they then pulled the switcheroo of help yourself to anything in the kitchen, followed by, you drank my wine? Venmo me $120 to the mutual friend who was kind enough to provide them free pet sitting, yeah, I'd think they were a huge asshole and probably wouldn't be friends with them anymore either. Just completely classless behavior. Classless. That's the word. It's classless. That's the word. It's classless to ask someone to provide a service for free and then charge them for taking you at your word when you said they could help themselves. It's the kind of behavior that makes people not want to do favors for you anymore. And let's be real. Our writer is 26 years old, buying $120 bottles of wine and about to get a promotion. She's not hurting for money. Her friend might be in a different financial situation, which makes the power dynamic here even worse. She's essentially using her financial advantage to make her friend pay for what she framed as permission. Multiple commenters asked if our writer compensated the friend at all for house sitting, and she conspicuously never answered that question directly. Commenter U/KZ2Y5 noted, their answer to one comment asking was basically, that's what friends should do, isn't it? So they still refuse to explicitly say the friend was not paid for cat sitting. They're being a cheap asshole who thinks pet sitting is a friend's obligation, yet also thinks that help yourself to whatever has unspoken exceptions that should somehow be known by both parties. So not only did she not pay him, she apparently thinks friends should just do these things for each other without compensation. Which, okay, fine. Friends do favors for friends. But then you don't turn around and charge them for consumables you said they could consume. You can't have it both ways. There's some excellent snark in the comments too. Commenter/WavetoyU said, oh, cool. Since it's like that, why don't you just take the $120 out of what you owe me for watching your cat and house sitting? I would pay to see that text conversation. Just the friend hitting her back with an itemized invoice for his services. Cat feeding and litter box maintenance, $50. Home security and monitoring, $75. Companionship for cat to prevent loneliness, $50. Plant watering, $25. Total, $200. Minus $120 for wine consumed with explicit permission per our verbal contract. Help yourself to whatever. Your balance due, $80. Venmo requested. And commenter U/a Clovis Mordechai had the perfect response our writer should have had. The phrasing you were looking for with your friend was, thank you for house sitting. I'm glad you enjoyed the wine I left as a thank you. That's it. That's the play. You just frame it like it was intended for him all along. You look gracious and generous. He feels appreciated for the favor he did. Everybody wins. Our writer chose instead violence Venmo edition. Here's the thing that really gets me. Our writer acknowledged in her own post that this might be her being extra. She said, am I the asshole here? He's making me feel like I'm being extra, but I feel like he totally took advantage of me. IDK, it's also just $120. That IDK appears 3 times in that closing paragraph. She's uncertain. She knows on some level that she might be wrong here, but she couldn't just let it go. She had to make it a thing, and now it's a big thing that's probably cost her way more than $120 in social capital and friendship equity. The fact that she came to Reddit asking if she's the asshole suggests she had doubts, and the overwhelming response of yes, you are absolutely the asshole here hopefully helped her see the error of her ways. She did comment, "Yeah, think her right" on one response, so there's hope for redemption. But let's talk about the lesson here because there are actually several. Lesson 1, if you tell someone to help yourself to whatever, mean it. Or be specific about exceptions. Don't say whatever when you mean whatever except these things I'm not going to mention. Lesson 2. If you have something precious or expensive that you don't want people touching, put it away. Lock it up. Hide it. Put a note on it. Do literally anything except leave it in the exact place where you told someone they could help themselves. Lesson 3. Not everyone knows the value of things you value. Your $120 bottle of wine looks like a regular bottle of wine to someone who doesn't know wine. Your vintage vinyl might look like a dusty old record. Your collectible action figure might look like a toy. Don't expect people to have the same knowledge base you do. Lesson 4. If someone does you a favor, especially a significant favor like house sitting for free, you don't then nickel and dime them over mishaps that resulted from your unclear communication. That's how you lose friends real quick. Lesson 5. The Venmo request is basically the nuclear option of friend disputes. Once you send that request, you're escalating to a level that suggests money is more important to you than the relationship. Use with extreme caution. Lesson 6. Sometimes being right isn't worth being right. Even if you have a technically valid point, is it worth damaging a friendship over? Is your pride worth more than your relationship with this person? Our writer learned a $120 lesson here, but it's not the lesson she thought. The lesson isn't friends shouldn't drink expensive wine without asking. The lesson is communicate clearly, protect what's important to you, and don't punish people for taking you at your word. I also want to address the minority opinion in the comments because it's worth considering. There are people who think the friend is also somewhat at fault here. Slash puzzle-headed horse 361 said, my husband and I stayed at someone's apt who collects wine. He told us the wine was off limits, but we could have anything else. I also don't drink people's alcohol unless I'm offered some. He shouldn't have brazenly opened a new bottle of wine and you should have told him it was off limits. ESH. And commenter u slash clamtrain said, NTA, I've dog house sat before and been told to help myself. I would never dream of opening any bottle of alcohol that one was not already opened, and two, finishing the entire thing. That's beyond the normal scope of helping yourself. These are valid points. There is an argument that opening an entire unopened bottle of wine and drinking it all by yourself goes beyond the normal scope of help yourself to snacks and drinks. Most people would interpret help yourself as grab some chips, have a soda, eat some leftovers, not crack open bottles of alcohol and consume them entirely. But here's the counterpoint. If that was the boundary, it should have been stated. We can't expect everyone to have the same unspoken rules about what help yourself means. To some people, it includes alcohol. To others, it doesn't. The only way to avoid this kind of misunderstanding is to be specific. And the fact remains that our writer left the wine in the kitchen, not in a wine cellar, not in a special rack with a note, not put away somewhere, in the regular kitchen where she told him to help himself. Even if you think he should have known better, she definitely should have communicated better. Let's also consider the friend's perspective here for a minute. He agrees to watch his friend's house and cat for the weekend. That's a significant commitment. You're responsible for someone's home and pet. You probably have to stay overnight or at least visit multiple times a day. You're giving up your own weekend freedom to help out. His friend tells him, help yourself to whatever in the kitchen. He's probably thinking, oh, cool. At least I can snack and drink while I'm here. That's nice of her. He sees a bottle of wine. Maybe he thinks, perfect. I'll have a glass while I watch some Netflix and hang with the cat. One glass becomes two, becomes finishing the bottle. He's not thinking he's doing anything wrong because he was told he could help himself. Then he gets home and bam, Venmo request for $80, with a note that probably says something like, for the wine you drank. He's probably sitting there thinking, "What the hell? She told me I could help myself." Hence the defensive response about being given permission, because he was given permission, just not informed permission about what specific items were off limits. And then, whether out of genuine feeling wronged or just being petty, he tells the group chat she's tacky and a bad host. Is that mature? No. But is it understandable when you feel like you just got hit with charges for something you were told you could do? Yeah, kinda. The whole situation is just a cascade of poor communication and assumptions on both sides, but our writer's the one who turned it into a financial transaction, which is why she's getting the bulk of the blame. Now, let's talk about what our writer should do now to fix this mess. Step one, delete that Venmo request immediately if she hasn't already. Just make it go away. Pretend it never happened. Step two, send a genuine apology text. Hey, I'm really sorry about the Venmo request. That was out of line. You were doing me a huge favor by watching my place and my cat, and I gave you permission to help yourself. I should have been more specific about the wine being off limits if I didn't want you to drink it. My bad entirely. I really appreciate you taking care of everything while I was gone. Step three, maybe buy him a bottle of nice wine. Not $120 nice, but nice, as a thank you gift for house sitting, or at the very least, a gift card or something to actually compensate him for the favor. Step four, learn the lesson and move on. Next time, be specific about boundaries, lock up the special stuff, communicate clearly. Step five, address the group chat situation privately if possible. Hey, I know things got heated about the wine situation. I've apologized to friend and I realize I was in the wrong. I hope we can all move past this. Will this save the friendship? Maybe, maybe not. But it's the right thing to do, and it's way better than doubling down on being right about a technicality while everyone thinks you're being cheap and petty. So, is our writer the asshole? Yes, absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt, yes. Our writer is the asshole. Look, I get it. It sucks to lose a $120 bottle of wine you were saving for a special occasion. That genuinely does suck, and I have sympathy for the disappointment. But this entire situation is the result of poor communication on our writer's part. And then she made it exponentially worse by trying to charge her friend for it. She told him to help himself to whatever in the kitchen. The wine was in the kitchen. He helped himself. She got mad. She sent a Venmo request. She's now shocked that people think she's being tacky and a bad host. The math is simple. Free house sitting service provided, $150 to $300 value. Wine consumed with verbal permission, $120. Tacky Venmo request sent, priceless in the worst way. Friendship potentially destroyed, way more than 120s. Our writer chose to die on the hill of, but it was expensive wine, when she could have just taken the L, learned a lesson about communication, and moved on with her life and her friendship intact. Instead, she's now that friend who charges people for things she said they could have. And that's a reputation that's hard to shake. The friend isn't perfect either. Drinking an entire bottle of wine by yourself is a bit much, and he maybe should have checked before opening it. But when someone tells you to help yourself to whatever, you kind of have to take them at their word, you know? And then he did her a solid by watching her place for free. So even if he was a bit presumptuous with the wine, he more than made up for it in free labor. The Venmo request was tacky. The discount was insulting. The whole approach showed a lack of appreciation for the favor her friend did for her. And the fact that she's about to get a promotion and can casually buy $120 bottles of wine but is squeezing her friend for money over a miscommunication, not a good look. Not the asshole? Absolutely not. The asshole supreme. Our writer needs to cancel that Venmo request, apologize profusely, maybe buy her friend a thank you gift for house sitting, and then put this whole embarrassing situation behind her. And next time she has someone house sit, she needs to either A, put the expensive wine somewhere safe, or B, say, help yourself to whatever except the Barolo on the counter. I'm saving that for my promotion. Or C, accept that help yourself to whatever means whatever, and not get mad when people do exactly that. This is a $120 lesson in communication, boundaries, and not being petty with people who do you favors. Take the L, learn the lesson, save the friendship. It's that simple. And to everyone reading this, be specific with your words. Protect what's precious to you, and for the love of all that's holy, don't Venmo request your friends for things you told them they could have. That's the fastest way to end up friendless and posted about on Reddit. Test verdict, YTA. Big time. Massive, glaring, no question about it, YTA. Now go apologize, delete that Venmo request, and maybe stick to White Claw next time you have a house sitter. At least then everyone knows exactly what they're getting.